video. It's like,
okay, never mind.
it's just the cover.
Oh,
Yeah, but they weren't here. What bird is a cold bird?
Very similar.
temporarily, sir. It's okay.
The Spike 150 Commission is proud to present the original musical production and ceremonial reenactment entitled As One. As One music is written and directed by award-winning composers, producers, and songwriters Stephen Nelson and Jeanette Mickelson. Jennifer Parker Howell wrote this script and directs the piece that features some of Utah's finest talent. Actress Lauren Tom, who appeared in the Joy Luck Club, Race Under Fire, and Friends, performs the role of narrator. Distinguished musician, educator, and conductor, Dr. Craig Jessup is the show's executive producer. We now present As One.
150 years ago today, this very spot was alive with the celebration of one of the greatest feats of humankind, the first intercontinental railroad. There was an undeniable energy in the air with the anticipation of all the new possibilities and opportunities that lay ahead. Here at Promontory Summit on May 10th, 1869, was the most important place in the whole world for one glorious day. Imagine with me what it would have been like so many years ago, just country was in the middle of the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln, a former railroad lawyer, looked to the future and saw the importance not only physically, but symbolically tying our fractured nation together and signed into law the Pacific Railroad Act.
Thank you, dear lady. Allow me to explain my thinking. I've always been fascinated by trains and have ridden the rails every chance I had. Growing up on the frontier of Illinois, I could look out to the untamed west and see that moving goods and traveling by rail was our future. I want to introduce you to my friend, Theodore Judah. Theodore, come on out. He loves trains even more than I do.
You get right there. I got a couple ties set on.
Crazy, Judah. He took his big ideas and told them to anyone who would listen. He made the treacherous ocean voyage around the tip of South America 3 times, trying to convince politicians in Washington, D.C., then the ones in California, and then back again.
I've been thinking that same thing.
Well, hello, Dot. You're just the man I've been waiting to talk to. This is Grenville Dot. He's a great engineer and surveyor. Dot, what's the best route for Pacific Railroad to the west?
It will start around Omaha, Nebraska, and then continue out west along the 42nd parallel. It's good and flat all the way to the Rocky Mountains. The other railroad will start east out of Sacramento, California. Then they will meet here, somewhere in the middle.
Yes, we can pay them for every mile of track they lay, making a great race to the finish.
Yes, let's get started.
Wait a minute! Who's gonna build it?
We need bottled water. We got free water.
They will have to be strong and not afraid of death.
Yes, they'll all have to work together on spirit of unity and teamwork.
All these people are, and it's right
The
there.
ironic thing here is that the men who built the railroad were none other than the outcasts and the persecuted of the nation. And these misunderstood people who struggled to find their place in America ended up being the very ones that helped unite the entire country. They were brave men who literally changed the American way of life, who in pursuing their own American dream made millions of other Americans' dreams possible. Coming from the east, working for the Union Pacific Railroad, were the Irish. Split their fists.
Pray to God that luck be on my
And
side.
it's true that they played hard, they also worked hard, and were set on getting a piece of the American dream for themselves.
Feel it in my bones that fair work and pay. We'll find it all again in no
And
time.
coming from the California coast were the Chinese.
Scan across the vast uncharted landscape.
Please bring it. This is foreigners. Set themselves and her.
Show the path my family spirit guides.
Well, between the gold rush of 1849 and the work of the railroad, they were chasing opportunities to change their destinies as well.
Who knows what fortune waits beyond the tracks? Maybe that's the goal we're gonna find. Cause when you realize what you really want, you hold on tight and you don't let go. I won't stop till I claim my own, till dreams in the end combine in my hand as one.
And working right alongside of the Irish and the Chinese were the freed slaves, many of whom had fought for their freedom in the Civil War.
Scan across the vast uncharted landscape.
Even though they'd helped to win the war, many people still thought of them as property less
My
than
chains are
human.
gone delivered by the Lord.
Working on the railroad provided not only money for these newly freed men, but literally a way out of the South, and for a chance for a new start westward.
The promised land is just around the bend. We're reaping from the seeds the Lord has sown. Cause when you realize what you really want, you hold on tight and you don't let go. I won't stop till I claim my own, till dreams in the end combined in my hand as one.
And they did work together as one.
Teamwork!
Remember, there were no machines back then. This was going to be built by their hands, by their bare hands.
And by their hearts and their minds. While some of the men worked on the engineering and inventing new things, like brakes, the power lantern, and the railroad lantern.
Other men rolled into their sleeves, picked up their shovels and hammers, and got to work to lay the actual
only got half. I told him no though.
No, I can't. He's got the keys to the car.
It was hard work, really hard work as you can imagine. Back-breaking work, performed sunrise to sunset, 6 days a week in all kinds of weather on all kinds of terrain. From the heat and harsh winds of the Great Plains to the unforgiving and bitter cold of the Sierra Nevada and the Rocky Mountains. Out here today, you can almost hear the echo of those endless days spent long ago. The rhythmic sound of the hammer against steel, the explosions of black powder felt in the chest, even music, the songs men would sing to help pass the time.
The clank of the hammers down against the rails, the slamming of the metal raining down like hail, takes me right back to the war against the South, fighting for freedom to get my brothers and sisters out. Dust and sweat and gore. Oh, how long till the sun gives away, doing all the work no one else would take, left with the echoes ringing in our crack of explosions rip away the rock. They become so familiar, we were forced to take our lot. From the mines of the gold rush, the cost has been too high, to the high Sierra Mountains where they gambled with our lives. Oh, how long till the sun doing all the work no one else would take, left with the echoes ringing in our ears. In our ears.
After a long day, you would think that these hard-working men would eat some supper and call it a day. And perhaps sometimes they did. But sometimes they would grow weary and restless with the sameness of their daily lives and have a need to just blow off some steam.
It's time to show you how living's done. Gonna show you how to blow off steam. 'Cause out here
yourselves down, and I'll tuck you in again.
Out here, women were as scarce as a bathtub. In fact, there was only one woman who witnessed the building of either railroad from beginning to end, and what a woman she was. Hannah Maria Strobridge came out with her husband James and was determined to make a home for him and her 6 adopted children. An ordinary passenger car was made into a 3-bedroom home on wheels. She was honored with the title, the heroine of the Central Pacific, and indeed, she was heroic to the men of the railroad. She bandaged their wounds while they told her of their troubles and nursed the sick back to health. She had a big heart and was quick to smile, and they loved her for it.
Another day is done as we inch down the track. It's hard to let go of the need to look back as the train moves on. How it seems we don't. We're a raggedy group of misfits with pride. We work nose to nose, but we're distant inside. When we feel so round, can we see somehow? Our stories all feel so far away, but tonight somehow they all feel the same. All the tales we're told, are they really so?
I hope for the best, but plan for the world. I dream like the rest, though branded and stirred.
How can I trust someone I want to go caught in a nest? Can I come around to forgive somehow? Our stories all feel so far away, but tonight somehow
They all feel the same.
they all feel the same. All the tales we're told, are they really so?
Chinese workers made up 90% of the workforce on the western portion of the line. The railroad could not have been built, let alone finished, without these thousands of nameless Chinese men. They were little understood and largely invisible to the men who employed them. The Iron Road, as they called it, stands as a monument to the Chinese worker, his unsurpassed work ethic, and ultimately his immense influence in forging the American West. No one group of people suffered or sacrificed more for the ultimate success of the railroad than the Native American. Their traditions, their lands, sometimes even their sacred sites were trampled and dishonored by the advance of the railroad and the men who came with it. Foreign diseases devastated entire tribes. The buffalo, their main food supply, were shot down for sport. Many of the tribes fought back in protest, sending their warriors to attack the workers and disrupt the progress. But the sheer size and scope of this massive undertaking was eventually overwhelming. Between the deaths of their warriors, widespread starvation, and disease, the proud Native American was involuntarily compelled to accept his new circumstances and place in the hierarchy of this new America. who were unlawfully forced from their lands and homes. Known for their hard work and industrious spirit, these refugees were in desperate need of money and opportunity. As the construction of the railroad drew near their sanctuary in the desert, these exiles, the Mormons, saw their chance and jumped to be part of the action.
Like we hold tomorrow right in our hands. Cross and persecution, we pass through trial by fire, and up against the odds, we still stand.
With the surge of Mormons joining the ranks in the fall of 1868, construction on the railroads accelerated on both sides. This raised the stakes pitting the Union Pacific against the Central Pacific, and a colossal race to the finish.
By this time, the workers were so efficient they could lay down track at nearly the rate of a man walking. Think of that!
When the Union Pacific boasted of laying 7 miles of track in one day, Charles Crocker, one of the 4 founders of the Central Pacific, put it to his men.
Men, I challenge you all to pass the mark of 7 miles of track set down in one day by the boys of the Union Pacific. And let us show them what we are made of by laying 10 miles of track in one day!
It's all around us, and right now is our time. We set our sights, so we'll jump in line against the odds.
And so, in the gray light of the early dawn, these men began one of the greatest feats of human determination the world has ever seen.
We can taste it. Time turns back now. It's like we hold tomorrow right in our hands. And the likely band will push down every mile. And up against the odds, we still stand. Stand across the vast uncharted landscape. Going on. Uncharted landscape. We still stand. The proof is all around us, and right now is our time. We set our sights, now we'll jump in line against the odds. The proof is all around us, and right now is our time. We set our sights, and we'll jump in line against the odds, against the odds,
Did they do it? Yes, they did. On April 28, 1869, these men laid down 10 miles and 56 feet of track in a little less than 12 hours. This is the longest stretch of track that has ever been built by hand or machine in one day to this day.
And less than 10 weeks later, on May 10th, 1869, a glorious spring day, the final spike of the first Transcontinental Railroad, the Golden Spike, was ready to be driven into the tide right here, uniting East and West together, from sea to shining sea, just as Abraham Lincoln, Crazy Judah, and Grenville Dodge envisioned many years ago. The presidents of both the Union Pacific and Central Pacific joined the territorial governors and other dignitaries, along with reporters from all over the country, to witness this momentous and pivotal event. The air was alive with anticipation. The two great engines, the Jupiter and the number 119, had been brought in facing each other. The two train engineers, Booth and Bradford, pulled on their whistles to send up a greeting.
Dame Strawbridge and Samuel Reed brought forth the laurel tie. Right beside them came a crew of Chinese workers wearing clean blue tunics, carrying in one rail from the Central Pacific, and an Irish crew brought in the one from the Union Pacific. Champagne bottles were waiting to be popped. A military band from nearby Fort Douglas was on hand, ready to fill the air with music. A young bugler, Thomas Shore Wadsworth, was nervously awaiting the signal. The moment was here. Leland Stanford, another one of the 4 leaders of the Central Pacific, was given the great honor of driving in the final spike.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride that I, Leland Stanford, drive in the final spike.
He missed!
Let me try that again.
No, you've had your chance. Give me that hammer. Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pride that I, Thomas Durant, President of the Union Pacific Railroad, drive in this final spike. Oh, let the governors try.
Try?
Sure.
You okay?
Oh, Mount Discovery.
Oh, well, I'd be honored. Oh.
Perhaps we should give the men who built this railroad a crack at it.
In the end, no one struck the final blow, and maybe should be, for it wasn't just possible. It was many people, many hands, minds, and hearts working together in the spirit of unity and determination. The first Transcontinental Railroad was and still stands as one of the greatest examples of the true spirit of America.
Bells started ringing across the nation.
The boom of hundreds of cannons echoed across the cities of San Francisco and Washington, D.C.
Praise and singing were heard in churches of all denominations.
Tabernacle and Temple Square was filled to overflowing with over 7,000 people.
Even our Sheriff's Liberty Bell in Philadelphia was like a celebrate.
We rang out the bells of a year. We walked.
Struck the final blow, and maybe that's just as it should be. For it wasn't just one man who made all of this possible. It was many people, many hands, minds, and hearts working together in the spirit of unity and determination. The first Transcontinental Railroad was and still stands as one of the greatest examples of the true spirit of America.
I feel it in my bones. The future holds. I'm gonna look beyond my side. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem of the United States of America.
Perhaps we need a real railroad worker up here to make this star job done. There we go. Drive her home. That's it.
Promontory to the country. Bulletin D O N E done.
Henceforth there will be the one Pacific Railroad of these United States. Yeah.
3 cheers.
3 cheers for the Union Pacific Railroad! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! And now 3 cheers for the Union Pacific Railroad. Excuse me, Central Pacific Railroad. Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! Hip hip! Hooray! You're not all hip hipping.
Promontory to the country, to President Ulysses S. Grant, Washington, D.C. Mr. President, final bulletin. The last rail is laid, the last spike is driven. The Pacific Railroad is completed to a junction 1,086 miles west of the Missouri River, 690 miles east of Sacramento City, California.
At that moment, one era ended and another began. The golden spike became a symbol of hope for a better way of life with new challenges yet to be accomplished. We thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, for being here today. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for reenactment.